Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore an interesting coin from Canada, the Canadian 1-cent coin, 1994 Canadian 1-cent coin. While it may seem like just a small copper penny, for collectors, coins like this carry history, design significance, and sometimes even unexpected value. The year, the condition, and any unique features of the coin can make a big difference, which is why coin collectors pay close attention to every detail. Even though pennies were common in circulation, careful collectors know that certain examples, especially those in uncirculated condition or with rare characteristics, are worth keeping an eye on. The 1994 Canadian penny features the classic reverse design that has been familiar to Canadians for decades. On the back of the coin, you'll see two maple leaves attached to a single stem, with the word Canada at the top and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom, along with the year 1994. The maple leaf is one of Canada's most iconic national symbols, representing the country's natural beauty and heritage. This reverse design was created by the British coin designer G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work appeared on many Commonwealth coins and has been appreciated by collectors worldwide. The obverse of the 1994 Canadian penny displays the portrait of Elizabeth II, the reigning monarch of Canada at the time. By the 1990s, this portrait showed a mature depiction of Queen Elizabeth II compared to earlier designs, reflecting the passage of time and her long-standing role as Canada's monarch. Surrounding her image is the standard inscription of her name and title, which appears on all Canadian coins of this era. The coin was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint, the institution responsible for striking all Canadian circulation coins. In 1994, pennies were still widely used in everyday transactions, so millions were minted. Because of the high mintage, most 1994 pennies are common and can still be found in circulation today. Over time, many of these coins show signs of wear, such as faded color, scratches, or slightly worn details. However, collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are in exceptional condition. The value of a 1994 Canadian penny largely depends on its condition. Most circulated coins are worth only slightly more than face value. However, coins that are in uncirculated condition, with strong mint luster and bright copper color, can be more appealing to collectors and may sell for several dollars. Coins that are professionally graded at high mint state levels are even more desirable. Because copper tends to darken over time, coins that maintain their original reddish hue are considered the most valuable. Collectors also pay attention to possible minting errors in coins from 1994. Errors such as off-center strikes, double images, or unusual planchet flaws can make a coin much rarer than the standard issue. Such error coins often attract high interest and value in the numismatic community, encouraging collectors to carefully examine every coin they encounter. In conclusion, the 1994 Canadian 1-cent coin is a small but meaningful part of Canada's coinage history. With its classic maple leaf design and the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it reflects both tradition and craftsmanship of Canadian coins. Even though most examples are common, coins in perfect condition or with unique features can still attract the attention of collectors and coin enthusiasts alike. Next up, we are going to talk about the Canadian 1-cent coin, a 2003 Canadian 1-cent coin, a coin that may seem ordinary but still holds interest for collectors. Even though it was just a 1-cent coin, it represents a part of Canada's monetary history before pennies were officially discontinued in 2012. For collectors, the year, condition, and any special characteristics can make all the difference in a coin's value, which is why even modern pennies are worth examining closely. The 2003 Canadian penny features the classic reverse design of two maple leaves attached to a single stem, with the word Canada above and 1 cent in the year 2003 below. The maple leaf has been Canada's iconic national symbol for decades, representing the country's natural beauty and heritage. This classic design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work has appeared on Canadian coins for generations and is still appreciated by collectors for its simplicity and elegance. On the obverse side, the coin features the portrait of Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch at the time. By 2003, this portrait had been updated to a more mature depiction of the Queen compared to earlier decades, showing her in her role as Canada's long-standing monarch. Around the portrait, you will find the standard inscriptions of her name and royal title, a feature that appeared on Canadian pennies of this era. The 2003 penny was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint, which produces all of Canada's circulation coins. By the early 2000s, pennies were still widely used in everyday transactions, so the Mint produced millions of them. Many of these coins were circulated heavily, which means most examples today show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, or loss of original mint luster. However, collectors are particularly interested in coins that are in uncirculated condition, where the coin shows bright copper color and crisp details. In terms of value, most 2003 Canadian pennies in circulation are worth only a small amount over face value. However, coins that are uncirculated or have been preserved in exceptional condition can be more valuable to collectors. Coins that retain their original red color and have no visible wear or scratches are especially desirable. Additionally, some collectors look for coins with rare minting errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled images, or unusual surfaces, which can increase a coin's rarity and value. The 2003 penny is also part of the final era of regular Canadian pennies. In 2012, the Canadian government officially stopped producing pennies due to their low purchasing power and the cost of production. This makes coins from the early 2000s an interesting piece of modern Canadian numismatic history, bridging traditional designs with the last years of penny circulation. In conclusion, the 2003 Canadian 1-cent coin may seem like a small and ordinary coin, but it still has historical and collectible significance. With its classic maple leaf reverse and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it represents the long tradition of Canadian pennies, while also being part of the last generation of these coins. Coins that are well preserved or have unique characteristics can still attract attention from collectors today. Next up, we are going to talk about the Canadian 1-cent coin. The 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin, a coin that may seem small and ordinary, but holds significance for collectors and enthusiasts alike. Even though it only had a face value of 1 cent, it represents the later years of Canadian penny production before the coin was officially discontinued in 2012. For collectors, details like the year, condition, and any unusual features can make all the difference, which is why even modern pennies are worth paying attention to. The 2006 Canadian penny features the classic reverse design that has been familiar for decades. 2 maple leaves attached to a single stem with the word Canada above and 1 cent and the year 2006 below. The maple leaf is one of Canada's most recognized national symbols, representing the country's natural beauty and heritage. This iconic design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work appears on many Canadian coins and is highly appreciated by collectors for its elegance and simplicity. On the obverse side of the 2006 penny, you will find the portrait of Elizabeth II, who was Canada's monarch at the time. By this period, the portrait reflected a mature depiction of the Queen compared to earlier decades, showcasing her long-standing role as Canada's sovereign. Around the portrait, the standard inscriptions of her name and title are present, a common feature on all Canadian pennies of this era. The 2006 Canadian penny was produced by the Royal Canadian Mint, which is responsible for striking all Canadian circulation coins. By 2006, pennies were still widely used for everyday transactions, so millions of these coins were minted. Many of them circulated extensively, which means most examples today show signs of wear, such as dulling of the original copper color, scratches, or minor surface marks. Despite this, collectors are particularly interested in coins that are preserved in uncirculated condition, showing bright copper color, full mint luster, and crisp details. In terms of value, most 2006 Canadian pennies are worth only slightly more than their face value. However, uncirculated coins or coins with exceptional quality can be more valuable to collectors. Coins that retain their original red color and sharp details are particularly desirable. Additionally, collectors often look for coins with minting errors, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or unusual planchet anomalies. Such error coins are much rarer than normal issues and often command higher prices in the numismatic market. The 2006 Canadian penny also represents one of the last years of regular penny production in Canada. In 2012, the Canadian government officially discontinued the penny due to its low purchasing power and the cost of producing it. This means that coins like the 2006 penny are part of the final generation of Canadian pennies, adding an element of historical interest for collectors who want to preserve modern examples of Canadian coinage. In conclusion, the 2006 Canadian 1-cent coin may seem small and ordinary, but it has both historical and collectible significance. With its iconic maple leaf reverse and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it represents the long tradition of Canadian pennies and is part of the last generation of coins before the penny was retired. Coins in high-grade condition or with unique minting features can still attract attention from collectors today. Last one, we are going to explore the Canadian 1-cent coin. 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin, one of the final years of Canada's penny production before the coin was officially discontinued in 2012. Even though it has a face value of just 1 cent, this coin carries historical significance and is of interest to collectors. Details such as the year, condition, and any unique characteristics can greatly affect a coin's appeal, which is why even modern pennies like the 2011 issue are worth examining closely. The 2011 Canadian penny features the classic reverse design that Canadians have recognized for decades: 2 maple leaves attached to a single stem with the word Canada above and 1 cent along with the year 2011 below. The maple leaf is one of Canada's most iconic national symbols, representing the country's heritage and natural beauty. This design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray, whose work is celebrated for its simplicity and elegance and has appeared on Canadian pennies for generations. On the obverse side of the 2011 penny, you will find the portrait of Elizabeth II, who was the reigning monarch of Canada at the time. By this period, the portrait depicted the Queen in a mature style that had been used since the late 1990s, showing her long tenure as Canada's monarch. Surrounding the portrait are the standard inscriptions of her name and royal title, a feature consistent on all Canadian coins from this era. The coin was struck by the Royal Canadian Mint, which has been responsible for producing Canada's circulation coins for over a century. By 2011, pennies were still used for small transactions, although their use was declining. Millions of pennies were minted, meaning most coins from this year are common in circulation. However, collectors always look for coins in pristine, uncirculated condition that show bright red color, sharp details, and full mint luster. In terms of value, most 2011 Canadian pennies are worth only slightly more than their face value. Coins that have been circulated are common, but uncirculated coins, or those with exceptional quality, are more valuable to collectors. Bright red pennies with no wear or scratches are especially desirable. Additionally, coins with minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or unusual planchet flaws, are rare and can command higher prices among collectors. The 2011 penny is particularly significant because it is part of the final years of the Canadian penny. In 2012, the Government of Canada officially retired the penny due to its low purchasing power and the cost of production. This makes coins from 2011 part of the last generation of circulation pennies, adding historical importance for collectors who want to preserve these modern coins. In conclusion, the 2011 Canadian 1-cent coin may seem like an ordinary penny, but it has historical and collectible significance. With its iconic maple leaf reverse and the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, it represents both the long tradition of Canadian pennies and the last years before their retirement. Coins in high-grade condition or with unique minting errors can still attract attention from collectors today. So next time you come across a 2011 Canadian penny in your collection or jar, take a closer look. It could be more interesting than you think. If you enjoyed learning about this coin, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video about rare and valuable coins. Thank you for watching, and happy coin collecting!